This is Stronger Than My Father with Marcus Minis.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast, your most trusted podcast that's centered around restoring fatherhood here in America. I'm your host, Marcus Minis Sr. Sorry, I'm just laughing, but this podcast produces by my very own good friend, Jim McCarthy at jmvos.com. So if you're in need of a podcast producer or if you're in need of some voiceover work, I encourage you to contact my friend, Jim McCarthy at jmvos.com. This is episode 2 of our Mother's Day series, and I'm excited to have a great guest, but I'm also happy to have my co-host, Strong in My Father, Director of Operations and Events, Ms. Renee Jones. So thank you for coming on and keeping me in line for another episode. Thank you, Jim, for the claps and the applause. You don't get to hear it on the headphone. But I have a honored to have a great guest on here this episode. And everybody call her OG, and we got to figure out why. But she has a great nonprofit I want to highlight and let her talk to you guys about and tell her story behind the nonprofit. So I'm going to welcome Ms. Clemmie Greenlee. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for inviting me.
And accepting my invitation. Thank you.
Yes.
Because you are a worker.
Yes.
And I see you working all the time. I'm like, how did she do? I thought I was a worker till I met you. And I'm like, this lady is doing something to impact the community. She has a great nonprofit called Mothers Over Murder, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her nonprofit. So tell my audience what led you to start this wonderful nonprofit.
So first of all, let me just say, everybody think I started Mothers Over Murder because the murder of my son, and I didn't. And I have to let people know that because a lot of people do start their nonprofit because of they've already hit some kind of road. I started loving on moms, single moms, and mothers of murdered sons because I had a kid at 15 years old, and nobody had gave me any help to come to me and talk to me about being not only a single mom but a young mom. And when I saw how everybody dissed me, talked about me, stepped over me, judged me, and didn't even bring me any service or any resources, that kind of bothered me that young. And I feel like that played a big part in me turning my life around in a negative way. And I just felt like I'm just listening to you sharing about, your upbringing and how close you were with your dad and stuff. I was really close with my dad and my mom, but both of them was a little closer to the alcohol bottle. So we still didn't have the guidance that I know that I needed as having a baby that young. When I come out of my house was the projects. Now we came from the country. I remember the cows and the horses and have to get out there and feed the slop to the pigs and throw the little seeds to the chicken. And I say that right today, 30 years later, I wish we'd have stayed there. Because once we was brought to the city, that's where everything started for me. Bringing me from Bellevue, Tennessee, when it was red dirt. It's a whole city now.
Yeah.
Bringing me from that to South 8th and Shelby, which is James Casey Homes, was like bringing me to Vegas on the strip road.
Wow.
Because we didn't have running water. We didn't have lights. We had lamps. You put your iron on the stove to get hot to iron your clothes. You go down to the well with the 2 buckets to get your water and bring up for us to eat and wash and drink. And your outhouse, you don't have no flushing. Come on. So the first thing that I found out was when we first got here, not only did I think my whole family, including my mom, ran out of that apartment because whoever flushed the water or turned that light on, it scared us to death. Because what was this? What is this? Oh my God. You turn a switch and the light come on, you turn a handle and the water come on. So we was that countrified. So I was angry enough to be mad at my father, because my father was a city slicker that came to the country and met my mother, and he wooed her, and that's what happened. They brought us here. I love him, but I'm mad at him. So once I got to the city, it really was heartbreaking to see that, wow, there's a lot of people out here that don't care. There's a lot of people out here that judge. So the same child that I had at 15 years old, I ended up burying from a gunshot wound that nobody again still taught me, trained me, or gave me resources or what was going on with my son being brought up in those projects over there with guns coming on and bandana scarves. So all of that started coming into my presence where I started asking questions to other young ladies that had babies and they didn't know. They didn't have any idea, and they were suffering from lack of resources. And one of the resources were, how do I raise my baby? How do I stop my baby from crying? How can you help me with Pampers? How can I stop he got an earache? He got collar. He got this. And I'm like, is it anywhere we can go? Is it anybody that's going to come here just because we're in the hood? We don't supposed to get the service? And that at a young age to me started making me like, oh no, I dare them. And when I dare something, that make me jump in and research it and want to find out why. And that consisted of me dropping out of school. I dropped out. That's backwards. I dropped out of school to find out why instead of staying in school to read and research and all that. It was the other way around.
Well, what was some of the biggest challenges you faced as a single mom growing up? You mentioned some of them about not knowing some of the skills to raise a child, but what were some of the biggest things as you was getting older, going into 18, 19, just those challenges that you feel like you faced trying to raise a son? Because I assume the father was not there, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. The biggest challenge was knowing that the father won't come back. He's not coming back. It was one of those things that we didn't have the real birds and the bees conversation. So it is also one of those things that we still see today. You are so pretty. You got some long, pretty black hair. Oh, I like that dress you got on. So now I'm feeling kind of good and want it and cute. So all the words that I need to hear, he's telling me. And this is what made me lay down with him because I believe him. And I tell people right today, we believe these little boys, young men, and grown men right today. We believe everything they're telling us because we came from that background and that family that all we ever wanted to do was our mother and our father to tell us, you're beautiful. You're a queen. You're a princess. Or you're going to be somebody, young man, when you grow up. But all you hear is, you're going to be just like your father, deadbeat. You're going to be just like your father, low down. Or you just going to be hot and have 5 kids everywhere. So when you hear that, you automatically had that lump in your throat, that broken heart, and now that spirit in your mind saying, I ain't going to be nothing. I'm not going to be anything. So when we go out and we do everything to our body and let our body go and everybody want to know why, it's because we was not fed that energy at all. And so the challenge that I see today, the challenge that I had was longing for that void of love that I never received. I knew my parents loved me, but that void is still in there where you didn't really kind of show me the way I needed to be shown. Yeah, you gave me stuff. Yeah, I never went hungry. Yeah, I had shoes. Yeah, I had a roof on my head. But did I have hugs? Did I have a kiss on my jaw when I went out to school? Did I have a hug when I got back home? Even when I got in trouble and got a spanking, did I get a reward afterwards because I did good? We look for stuff like that. And young girls who end up getting pregnant never be told about the first 6 weeks of don't having sex again, and you go have it, and then you want to know why you got 2-3 babies in less than a year. Jesus. But then when you know this and you don't go tell this young lady that, it's on you. It ain't even on the young lady because you already know somewhere mentally she's disturbed. You also know that she's lost for love and that void right there, and she want guidance. But all she know is when he come with me and lay with me, he love me. She not thinking about he come another baby. So when I started out as of today, I know all of these. Remember what I just named? I know all of this through me personally. So the day they asked me, why did I start a citywide baby shower? I started a citywide baby shower because when that pandemic came, could nobody come out. Nobody,
including the ones who was financially set.
all you could do was have sex, watch movies, and eat. But now you want to blame us because when it's over, we got half of the neighborhood pregnant.
Yeah.
What else could they have done in there? But the ones who financially said they was pregnant too, but they just happen to have finance behind them. Yeah. So now when all of them become pregnant and get ready to have the babies, what they call them, Miss Clemmie. Miss Clemmie, is there any way you can help me with some Pampers? One hospital wouldn't let a girl come home because she didn't have a baby seat. I was furious.
They won't let you.
Which they should have went and got her one.
And tried to help her.
Right.
Instead of just dogging her out and stuff like that.
Yes. So we end up going and getting her one at Walmart, me and my husband. And what was so funny about it, I have not had a kid in my family in 12 years. So I know nothing about baby seats or none of this new stuff they got today. You know the baby seat I was looking for, they don't even have. They don't have anymore. So when I saw that, and then I had a baby seat, some wipes, and milk. Yeah. But whatever it was almost $300 when they got through. It was $200 and something. And I was like, wait a minute, Max, sir, I don't know what you hung up, but this is all I got right here. And he asked me, he said, well, I went and got that big pack, and that big pack was $79. And he asked me, he said, ma'am, when is the last time you bought milk, Pampers? And I said, I haven't. He said, well, I could see. Because this is how much this stuff costs. That was the moment 2 years ago, because this will be my 3rd annual, that I said, I'm having a citywide baby shower. Because not just for the low income people, but for everybody, because that pandemic hurt a lot of people. But that gave me the moment to talk to these mothers that was coming with their head down because they felt like they was begging. They felt ashamed. And I was able to be there and honey, baby, lift that head up. Look at Auntie Clemmie. You ain't got nothing to be ashamed about because the baby is a miracle, number one. And the dad is not a deadbeat dad. He just needs his dad to talk to him about his little wee spreading everywhere. Like y'all always talking to us about the pill. Talk to your son about the cover. But anyway, we'll get to that later. I want them to know that you did nothing wrong. And I'm here to help you through this. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to help you get your self-esteem up. We're going to find a daycare for you to go put your baby in so you can go back to school, go back to college, go back to work, whatever it is that they was telling you that you can't do. Auntie Clemmie find a way to do it.
Let me ask you this. Why is it so important when a mother gets pregnant, a young mother or whatever age get pregnant, and they need that encouragement? Why is it so important at that stage, at that early stage of them being a mother, to have it encouragement? You saying lift your head up, there's nothing wrong. Why is it so important?
Well, because if you don't give the mother that, she's not going to know how to get the child back. That's why a lot of these childs is getting thrown away and thrown up against the wall and left in the store or left in the car and burning up because they hot, because they don't have that connect to them. They don't know how to feel that love, so they can't give it to them. I had a friend, a couple, that they were so excited about having the baby. And when they had the baby, the man, he was happy, but he wasn't aware of what the baby do. All the crying, changing the Pampers, or just up 3 o'clock in the morning. He ended up biting the baby tongue out his mouth. Whoa. So this was on the news. It's been about like 7-8 years ago. But he didn't have any patience with that baby like these young girls don't. If you haven't went to any kind of parenting training class, you can't just think you can just lay up here, y'all, and have a kid because he's finna love me for life. No, the kid finna love you for life, but the young man ain't. So it's very important that we catch them as that baby has been born to show them how to love again and how to feel, so they can mentally help their kid grow up. I'm getting ready to go on a TV show. It's called Grow, but it's about plants. Because I want to teach them how to start with that one flower. Get them seeds, get a little flower pot and put it in there. And you're going to plant that seed. That seed is your baby. So you're going to learn how to love that flower, because it ain't going to grow if you don't water it, talk to it and all that. So when you start doing that and you look and see that little poke stick out and say, oh, Miss Clemmie, that's the flower I planted. Yes. And you've been loving on it. So now she's feeling that love from that flower. Then now when she touch her baby, She really feel that love, and she's gonna make sure she be careful for that baby. All of these young girls out here that everybody's talking about, they don't know how to raise their kids. They should have never had no kids. I hate that.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
I hate it because yeah, it is true. But look, they are here now. So why we can't get to them and help them out? It ain't none of my business. Ain't none of my child. Should have kept the legs closed, man.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. Like, you should have kept your legs closed, and then people tell you that.
This is what I do to them. Even I did it to my grandmama. Excuse me, how old were you when you had my mama? Hello, put me out of the church. Put me out of the building. Tell me how old you were when you had my mama. When you 14? When you 15? Now what's the difference?
No difference. So
I can't have y'all to just keep throwing negativity out here, and then I go to church Sunday and you the first thing at the altar. No, that don't work with me. I mean, you just hypocrite, what you want to call it.
I love
everybody
this.
know this Clemmie G, Tennessee.
Hey, let's do it, Miss Clemmie. You preach to
I'm
them.
just saying, you guys, this is a new day. This is a new era. These kids are lost. The generation is lost because of us. It ain't because of God. Go to Revelation. I don't need to go to Revelation. I'm going to you. We're lost because of you.
Yeah.
You left all of this for these kids not to get through it, not to learn, and not to have a breakthrough because you turned your back on us.
Yeah.
Then I have to go back to the system that always got them in juvenile and then coming from the parents for the children's departments. I tell them all the time. But you the one came and took the kings out of the house, though.
Yeah.
See, nobody want to talk about that in 1960 something.
Yeah.
Y'all know, we had men, black, strong men, and daddies in our home. They might have a whiskey bar and a beer bottle, but they didn't have no drugs and no pistol. Yeah. You gave that to them when they turned their back. As soon as they say this don't belong to me, you're gonna tell them they're gonna go to jail until unless they say they belong to them. And you don't want to go to jail like you said you haven't been.
Yeah.
So when you get there and sign that paper, like, okay, because I don't want to go to jail, so I'm gonna sign that paper saying that gun belong to me. And now you done messed up.
So then they consider like a felony once you get the gun charge or something like that, and then it's on your record.
So then here you come. You done snuck in.
Yeah.
The system, the snuck in. So now he wants to come home, but you holding him in there, and then the mother with the kids, they're used to the husband having the bread while we do our little mother stuff. Here she come like, where is he at? Because the lights are due and rent is due, and I don't have any baby milk. And then here come Miss Karen. She'll bring her little ass over there.
Is that like the social worker that comes over?
Yeah, the social worker, Miss Karen.
Miss Karen.
And she gonna come and say, well, Miss Greenlee, I know your husband was locked up. I'm so sorry. But look, we have a program called welfare and food stamps. And it helps you. It helps you from the government. Get this and get that until he get out. Will it help me get the food? Yes, ma'am. So I'm finna sign it. Thank you, ma'am. Now when I sign that, I done signed my husband where he can't come back to my house.
Nah, let me stop you real quick.
That's a whole nother subject. Don't get me started. Nobody want to hear the truth.
I heard someone tell me that about the welfare system, and once somebody wanted to debate my mother about it. And they said they started back in the 70s. Is that correct? When the
in the 60s.
It's the 60s. Okay. Somebody asked my mom that. And this guy was wanting to mistreat my mom because she thought my grandmother decided not to take no welfare. I'm going to take care of my kids. But some people look down on folks when people have to take welfare. And so it's nothing, to me, it's nothing wrong. If it's getting help, to help that child, help that mother, I don't see nothing wrong with it. But I know a lot of people look down on folks that take welfare. I mean, who's on welfare, and I think that's wrong.
Okay, so let me tell all of you guys, the world, the nation, the state, and the other countries.
Go ahead, Ms. Greenlee.
My great grandmother who picked the cotton and made the bed and got raped by all the masters. My great granddaddy, my great mama and father that just retired and all that. Honey, this is y'all money. This is the tax that our ancestors paid. These people are not giving us anything. This is what we earned from our ancestors. And if you really look at it, you got more Caucasians on food stamp and welfare than you got black African Americans. Because we hustlers.
Now, I didn't hear that.
We hustlers. Caucasians are stealers. They steal their way through some stuff. But we make our way and make stuff happen. You see what we did with the chitlin bucket? They didn't want that intestine. What we
the
do?
chilling bucket.
What we do with the chilling? Tuck it and made a meal out of it when they thought we were gonna starve out there in that field picking them cottons. Let me tell you guys, don't rely on it and make a living off of it because you can do better. But honey, let me ask anybody at Metro Action, do they see Miss Clemmie sitting there with her light bill? Ask them, boo, because there's nothing shame about none of that. That is our money that our ancestors paid their tithes, took out the income taxes and all of that. So I tell people all the time, just don't lay on it. Like I tell people when you get in the projects, I don't feel like you need to stay there no 15, 20, 25 years. Yeah. I mean, but those who do, then that's the mental state of mind they in. But those who can, y'all ride it and save and stack and move on.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and you'll give me a whole lot of knowledge because I didn't know a lot of this stuff for just trying to get people out.
Well, that's when I thank you for asking me about podcasting. My brother told me, it's time for you to go back out there and speak the truth.
Well, like I said, I see you on television. I see you on television all the time fighting. And that's why I wanted to have you on. And I knew you would give me what I wanted. Yeah. And it'd be a whole nother side of what I usually talk about. But let me ask you this. You've been a fighter in the community for a long time. What gives you the strength to keep going all the time to impact people? What gives you the strength, Miss Greenlee? I've seen you just had an event at A.L.E.R.T, am I right, just last week? I had you come to some of your events. Because when I get through the mentorship, I am so tired. And I got to still be a family person, but I'm going to come to one of your events and just show you I'm there because I see all the time you're giving. You're giving to people, you're helping people. What gives you the strength to keep doing this after so many years?
Well, as I started off early in my life, pregnant at 15, on drugs, out here in the streets with the pimp, the players, sex trafficking, in and out of juvenile. At 12 years old was my first handcuff. And it's like we were saying earlier, we don't want no poor pillar for me stories. And that's what I tell people all the time. Don't come to me with that poor pillar for me stuff, because you ain't been through no more than I done been through. And so when I see that, and then when I started going in and out of juvenile, I ended up in that sex trafficking, trying to get out of that, and I ended up stabbing somebody, and I tried to kill him. And he just didn't die, but I still got that intent to commit murder.
I know that's right.
Because I'm where's the people that helps you out of that that's still going on today? Yeah. So then when I made it to the prison, I noticed something, that every other girl that I was with is always in here. Sarah, you back? Damn, Regina, you come on now, Cookie, y'all. So then somebody got to come out this circle. Somebody got to come out this circle. And then my friend, which is my sister-in-law now, she said even in the crack house, me and her used to say, if you get out first, you promise to come back and get me. And if I get out first, I promise to come back and get you. And I'm like, I don't remember it. But she said that's what we used to talk about. No, we people used to put us out. We blowing their high. Talking about who come back and get somebody. And everybody trying to smoke dope. So when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. Can I do it? Can I come? So it was them 8 girls that they probably did, because we talking about 25-something years ago. It's those same 8 girls, y'all, that I keep in my face, that I got to go back and get them. I got to go back and get them. So I got to get now. So at 42 years old, at 42, junkie, uneducated, 6th grade school dropout, I went to rehab. I went to the Magdalene program, which is now called Thistle Farm. I went to that program for 2 years. And in them 2 years, I asked 1 million questions. And I listened to everything. Some things I didn't, because I said, you ain't finna brainwash me. I was on drugs. I wasn't there. Anyway, I learned and prayed and said, let me find my Jesus. See, that was my biggest thing. I had to find my Jesus, because all y'all Jesus was scary. Y'all walk over homeless people, y'all talk about people, y'all judge people, y'all lie in church, y'all tell folks something to be telling them, you jump in a photo shoot just to be there. Then when you call you the next day, you don't even know you. So I don't want your Jesus. So I had to find Clemmie G. Jesus. And once I found Clemmie G. Jesus, he gave me my strength to be bold like him. And I tell him all the time, I don't know but 2 verses in the Bible. And they go, oh yeah, Psalms 28. Nope, Psalms 27. I know he put me on the rock and I was solid.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Matthew 25:30, he fed me, came to prison, and got me up out of there because I was sick. That's all I need to know. Y'all finish the rest.
Wow.
And that's what happened. I promise you.
Well, let me ask you this. What is one of your most, out of all the work you've been doing, what is one of your most impactful stories of somebody you helped that was so impactful you can't forget about it?
Man, it's really two of them now.
Okay.
One of the boys who performed at my event Saturday.
Yes.
It was two brothers. They was in my straight talk group. They was 9 years old and 11 years old. And they performed in my event. They are 18 now and 20, 21. That I wouldn't let them go. Everybody threw them away. Everybody threw them away. The probation officer would tell me I'm wasting my time and all that. And I hate it when they do that, but I love it when they do that because I love a challenge. The second one I have to say New Orleans. Okay. When I went down there and they was telling me I couldn't get them women's off of Bourbon Street and Chef Highway. Chef Highway was the whole stroll. And so when you get past them pimps and you started getting their women's, then they want to know who's the new kid on block that's taking their women's, right? So out of me being there for 3.5 years, I went there in 2012. I came back in 2014 because my nephew got murdered. The governor at that time called me back down there and changed the whole sex trafficking law of the state of Louisiana due to my story and gave me the copy of the bill and let me be his guest speaker. Those was the two most important. I got a lot of them, but those two stand out to me that I know that I helped change something in somebody's lives. And that program is called the Eden House in New Orleans, and it's still going. Matter of fact, they got another house going.
Well, one thing my mom said on a podcast interview with my mom, she said, Mark, you was always a helper. And she said, God looks for helpers because you got so many people out here hurting you. What put that helper spirit in you? And I know I probably asked at the beginning, but just, from what you've been through at the age of 15, and you continue to helping people now. It's like just like when you said when you got here today, you saw somebody needing help.
I know, it smell like gas on fire.
I don't smell it. I don't smell it.
Messed up my shoe. Messed up my shoe. You good? Oh.
What? Because I'm that person where I can't help it. Even when I want to stop helping people, Miss Greenlee, I can't help it.
Yeah.
If a parent called me and said, son needs help, and he ain't even part of the program, I'm like, what can I do to help him? I just cannot. I know Renee, she'll tell me she's a system processing machine. And it's like one of the parents had one young man, she said he's 7 years old, lost his mother and his father. Can he just come hang with y'all? And he ain't put no application in. I don't interview nobody. I said, just let him come.
Yeah.
That's who I am. And I can't get that out of me, Miss Greenlee. No. To service, to be of service and to help people. I can't get that out of me, even when I want to stop. What put that in you to be that helper, that servant, that you see somebody needing help and you gonna stop no matter what? You nicely dressed today, but you still help. I know that.
That ain't no day.
I am so sorry because you always looking good. I know that. I'm glad you. I love you, Miss Greenlee.
But no, it's really when I said I found my God. Let me just say that now. That I know who God really is on that love, unforgiving love. Yeah. But the main person is my mother. Okay. I don't care what kind of alcoholic she were. My mom was a maid. So when they always ask me, well, how did you go wild like that? How did you have a baby that young? Why you always going to juvenile? Well, my mom was too busy cleaning y'all toilet and scrubbing y'all floor with a toothbrush. Wow. So she raised all of your kids and taught them how to read and iron and tie up a shoe. She didn't have time to teach me because she's too busy trying to put food on the table and keep lights on there. But my mom had unconditional love. I never remember, and me and my brother still talk about this, and we 60s. I never remember a house by ourselves. Mama, who is this? Mama, what family is this? Mama, who dog is this, baby? Mama, how long they gonna stay here? So we never had a house by ourselves. My mom took in everybody, every stray, people and animals. My mama even showed us no matter what, Y'all can't treat people wrong. No matter what, you can't judge them. No matter what, you got to try to find a way to help them, Clemmie. Don't make nobody feel bad. Whatever you do, don't. She said you got to have that unconditional love, and you got to have that faith of a mustard seed. And I keep my faith of a mustard seed necklace on, and I keep that unconditional love. Even in my program, I got unconditional love. I'm different on purpose. And then once I grew into it, like I don't want to hear her mouth. I'm not finna treat that person wrong. And then the other reason is how everybody treated me.
Yeah.
They spit on me. They stepped on me. They talked about me. I'm 12 years old standing on a corner with red lipstick on and stilettos. I got corns on my feet now. You supposed to have said, let's go. Little baby, little girl, come here. Now you came out of the same church door, pointed at me, turned your head, and pulled off.
Yeah.
I don't know how to dress like that, so you supposed to know that somebody got these children out here on the corner like they got them today.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still involved in sex trafficking, but I'm mostly involved with my black girl sex trafficking. I ain't racist, but you're not going to keep on talking about the other color missing, and you're not talking about my 1-800 black girls missing.
Yeah.
So it's my mother and the God that I have today.
One last question when we wrap this up. You said something at the beginning of this podcast that triggered me, and I forgot to ask you that. Why is it so important for fathers to love their daughters? Why is that? Because I seen how my dad treated my sister with love, made sure he protected her, made sure what kind of husband she had. Daddy was there like 100%. And even me and my sister was like, man, what are we going to do when daddy go? Yeah. We talked about that. But why are they so important? I know for sons, but for daughters, why is it important for a father to love his daughter?
Well, on my end, I was the daddy's little girl. I'm how drunk it was. I help hold the whiskey bottle up just long enough to sit there on this lap. That's who I were with my father. But it was more than anything that they talks to you about what to look for and what not to look for. The touch and the love that you can feel from them. It's the touch and the love that you're gonna feel when you get ready to pick that boyfriend and pick that husband. No matter whether he was an alcoholic or not. Him and my mama was together for 25 years. So they showed me something. I've never seen them fight. I never seen them, they gonna holler at each other, but I never seen a abusive argument or none of that. So the girls and the young ladies today, they need that sense of smell, that sense of security blanket, and that sense of knowing that this man gonna have to be something like my father. He's not gonna be beating on me. He's not gonna holler at me. He's not gonna abuse me. So the reason these kids is going through all this domestic violence, these women is going through all this domestic violence now, is because they didn't have that father figure to even train them to see how a man's supposed to be to them. That's why I felt like an uncle or a nephew should have stepped into place with these young girls. It is very important that your fathers let us know as girls and women's that this is how a woman's supposed to be treated. I love when I see a father and daddy date night, dance night, movie night. Because when she grow up, she's going to know that's what she's going to expect with her expectation of a man. So it's just important that we have that feel, that smell, and that secure blanket. I don't care if he was a dope dealer, drunk. I don't care what he was. But he was your father that was showing you something and making you feel a certain way when you come to meeting a man.
Well,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you, if for the listeners, for the women who are listening, who may be experiencing some of the things that you experienced and feel like they are being overlooked, and they're wanting to get out, what advice would you give to them? Like, what steps do they need to take to break that cycle or to get out of that position that they're in? And I know sometimes it's hard because your situation, you may not have the job, you may not have the money, you may not have the resources. What would be the first step? What do they need to do?
Quit being a loser, start being a chooser. See, I was choosing my way to do better. We got to get out of this poor old pitiful me syndrome that everybody got us in. Everybody got us thinking that we can't get out of it. Don't nobody want us in that. Some people ain't got the willpower. I already know y'all got your nose snurred up. Some people don't. So what I can say right now, but I do. So 615-589 8984 is my cell. I'm the secretary. But what you have to do, now real quick, what you have to do, y'all, you got to go just look in the mirror. If you can't help, get around somebody who can help you look in the mirror. Well, I might lose my best friend. Well, they already said I can't. Okay, well, then again, be a chooser and quit being a loser, because your best friend need to be sitting on the side. But I promise, man, if anybody can reach out to me, I'm about, like you said earlier, I'm almost bored. I'm almost bored. I love action. I get scared when I get a little free time. But I love this, and I want to educate my young women. I want us to go strong. I'm trying to do 1,000 women's in purple going strong. So come on, y'all, hit me up. Let's make this happen. Let's everybody pitch in. This thing I want to do, and I'm gonna talk to you about that since you got the stronger than my father. I want to do a one porch at a time event, and that's what we're gonna call it, one porch at a time, because we got to go in there and I got to snatch some of them fathers up too. I got to tell them, come here, let me holler at you, and I'm gonna tell the mom and all them, y'all got to go on outside. I need to talk to him. I talk to my son like I talk to you. Ain't no sit on granny knee. It ain't no knee no more here. This world is a cold world out here. It done changed, and this millennium they are lost, but they listen. Because they come. If they didn't, they wouldn't come to your event. Your program, and they wouldn't come to mine. So what I'm gonna say to them is, don't give up. Y'all just heard what I went through. I supposed to be doing 20 years in prison right now, but I died 1-800-Jesus. You got to come on about here. but I also had it in my mind, y'all, that I just can't give up, because there's gonna be people like you gonna call me and I can't answer the phone.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I am honored to interview you. And I love that you're real. That's the thing that I love, that you're going to come real. And when we talked on the phone, I said, that's what I do. Because I think people need to know real people and real problems. And that's what Strong in My Father podcast is for. It's real people, real problems. Everybody ain't going to like what I do. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to tell people that why am I such a big advocate for fatherhood? Is because we got father's absence. And when that father's absent, it brings on these other problems and chaos. If men would step up, raise a family, and be there. Now, I know I'm a different breed, and y'all fussed at me before we got on the air about affection and love. But at the end of the day, I do know how to provide and make sure my family is safe all the time. And that's what I see. I see your work you're doing. And this is pretty much the first time we've met in person. We did an interview probably 10 years ago. But I'm a person that watch people that help. And when I see you doing all your events and you're doing things to help, and people may not agree how you do your events.
Oh, they don't.
And so, but the point is, but then I always ask, if you're complaining about what Miss Greenlee is doing, what are you doing to impact family?
Give me that.
So what are you doing to make an impact on families? Because this lady is working around the clock. And they don't know how many times you got calls at midnight to help somebody. And so I applaud you. If no one gives you your flowers, I'm giving them to you now. I wish I had a bouquet now. Because I'm a helper. And that, I haven't been through a lot of stuff. I've been shot at once helping somebody. That scared the living daylights. Scared me to death. I was in Haynes Garden helping this kid, and I heard the first gunshot, and I said, whoa. I said, that's kind of close. And then next you know, I seen these kids talking about they shooting. So I grabbed the kid I'm mentoring, and I just ducked near my car, and my wife said, you could have got killed. And I said, you could have said over my body that I was serving. And I lost my life serving. Because didn't Dr. King lose his life serving? He served. And that's what my mom put in me. So thank you so much. Where can people find you as we close this podcast out? Where can people find you, support Mothers Against Murder? Where can people find and help you out at?
So my website is Nashville-peacemakers.org. Mothers Over Murder.
I'm sorry.
Mothers Over Murder is on Facebook, but you'll find me quicker with 615-589-8984. Clemmie G from Tennessee.
Well, I don't know why people call you the OG. I don't know why.
Number one, I'm the original gangster.
Okay.
And then number two, every time I get in somebody's face, I always holler, oh God. How am I going to approach this?
Well, I'm definitely going to bring you back.
Auntie is the main one.
Well, Auntie, I'm going to call you Auntie. I'm bringing you back soon. Maybe before the end of the year. And we're going to keep this conversation going. Maybe go something against Will helping me out.
And we love some ways to collaborate. I'm very interested in how we can partner and do some things with the work that you're doing as well.
I would love it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm solo for a reason. It's too many people talk too much game and don't come forth. So I can't do these kids like this. So.
Well, I'm gonna keep fighting because my mother told me. She said you got to keep going, Mark. You can't, because I did in my mind want to live a normal private life, just 9 to 5. But my mom said you built to serve, Mark, so you can't run from it. She said you built to serve, you can't run from it. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And hey, thank you again for listening to another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast, your most trusted podcast that's centered around restoring fatherhood in America. I have to thank my producer Jim McCarthy for all the work he's done and put up with me for the past 2 years. He's put up with me for 2 years recording podcasts. But thank you, Jim, for what you're doing. And if you like what you hear, please click the subscribe button. And also, if you'd like to donate to keep this podcast on the air, go to my website, and a donation of $25 or more will keep this podcast on the episode. I want to say God bless you. Thank you, Renee, for coming on as my co-host for today for this motherhood series. God bless you guys. See you another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast.